Daha havadar bir ortamdayız şu anda en azından. Biraz daha kalabalık azaldı. Kahvede iyi gelmiştir, uykunuz açılmıştır diye düşünüyorum. Önemli bir panel var şu an sırada. Ben katılımcıları tek tek davet edeceğim. Bu panelde aslında Türkiye'de en önemli yatırımcıların hem sektörün bugününü, trendlerini hem geleceğini paylaşacakları kıymetli konuşmaları olacak, tecrübe paylaşımları olacak. Panelin katılımcılarını davet ederek başlamak isterim. Enerjisa Üretim CEO'su Sayın İhsan Erbil Bayçöl, Eksim Enerji CEO'su Sayın Arkın Akbay, Polat Enerji CEO'su Sayın Cem Deniz, Borusan Enerji CFO'su Sayın Murat Gördeslioğlu,
Hoş bulduk.
Mogan Enerji
Soluna mı abi,
CEO'su
sağına mı?
Sayın Ali Karaduman,
Murtaza.
Kalyon Enerji'den Murtaza Ata CEO, Kalyon Enerji CEO'su Murtaza Ata.
5-10 dakika falan mı konuşacaklar?
Merhabalar. Oturumun moderasyonunu Enerji Bakanlığı Enerji İşleri Genel Müdürü Sayın Ahmet Özkaya yapacaklar. Buyurunuz efendim siz de.
Hoş bulduk, merhabalar. Merhabalar.
Merhaba Murtaza zaten.
Merhabalar. Sizin herhalde
Evet, Cem Deniz ve Ali Karaduman Beyler herhalde yoklar. Burada mısınız? Buyurun efendim.
Gayet iyi, tamam. Tamamdır. Teşekkür ederim.
Cem Deniz Bey de geliyor, Polat Enerji CEO'su. Hoş geldiniz.
Merhabalar, hoş bulduk. Sağ olun.
Cem Bey de geldiğinde başlayacağız. Geçen seneden itibaren ben bu arada bu programda o EPDK Başkanı da vardı o zaman Mustafa Bey. Bana yatırım yapmam konusunda tavsiyeleri oldu. Sayın Varank o zaman bir takım imkanlar sağlanabileceğini de paylaşmıştı. Bir tribün yapmam lazım. Aranızda tribünü olan var mı bilmiyorum. Var mı tribünü olan? Böyle bireysel yatırımcı yok herhalde değil mi? Bu yapılan bir şeymiş aslında. Evet, bireysel olarak da yapılabilen bir şeymiş. Ve zaten boşuna konuşmuyorum.
Tamam mıdır?
Yapacak olursak eğer
Yo, alo.
Tamam.
çok güçlü bir arkamızda evet.
Uydu mu?
En önemli yatırımcıları burada. Önemli vizyon katacak bir panel olacağına eminim. Oldukça kıymetli olacaktır paylaşımları. Siz de hoş geldiniz.
Hoş bulduk, hoş bulduk. Teşekkür ederim. Çok mersi.
Buyurunuz. Ali Bey,
Tamam
sizin
mıdır?
yeriniz şurası.
Merhabalar Sayın Başkanım.
Efendim söz sizde.
Merhabalar, merhaba.
teşekkür
Merhaba
ediyoruz
Murtaza.
Akif Bey.
Merhaba.
Öncelikle hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Bugün birbirinden kıymetli
Today we have distinguished guests, distinguished presenters, executives from the companies especially. We will be discussing about YEKA, especially about YEKA. But we will be talking more about renewable energy. We will be discussing some specific topics about renewable energy. Briefly, I would like to present our panelists. Let me introduce them. We have Mr. Ihsan, and we have Murat Gördeslioğlu from Borusan. We have Ali Karaduman from Mogan Energy, and we have Arkın Akbay from Eksim Energy, and we have Cem Deniz from Polat Energy, as we have presented as our minister talked about this. We have some plans and some objectives regarding 2035. We have some set of projects. In order to implement these set of projects, we have to take some actions. We have to present the action plans. With your permission, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Murtaza.
YEKA'da önemli kurulu güçleri oluştu. Ve bu YEKA süreçlerinde de aslında
As you already know, we have seen ourselves that renewable energy resources areas are hard to harness due to some restrictions, permissions restrictions. And I will be asking about the licenses and permissions about this usage of the energy. So we will be talking about these energy um releases, and we will be also talking about what they expect in the industry. Thank you so much, distinguished presenters, distinguished moderators. I'd like to salute you all with respect. Today, in the morning session, as our minister has mentioned, they indicated some important messages. We have these objectives that we can reach very easily. We can accomplish easily. So the most important thing is to act together in a public. We have more than 10 of these renewable energy resource areas agreements, licenses, and we have implemented 2 of them, and we will be implementing the rest next year. For the last 4 years, within all these processes, we are taking part of this issue. I'll be sharing my thoughts, and we have these construction sites. One of them is renewable energy resource areas. It's the Jester construction areas, especially with these areas, YEKA, even though they are declared as YEKA areas, renewable energy resource areas, it is a really painful process, especially YEKA 4S and YEKA 3S. There is this opportunity to sell to private sector if you do not use it. When you give prices, you have to implement a project and you have to sell it. You have to sell it. So this is really important to finish these projects in a timely fashion. Well, but from A to Z, in all details, in every step, we are fighting. We are struggling, for example, there is these regulations about these areas. Regarding these areas, for example, it says that it should be used as a construction area. But you consult the municipality. Municipality interprets it in a different way. But you recite the regulations line by line. You quote the regulation, but they have a different understanding of this regulation. They ask for these declarations. They ask for these documents. They request these documents. We got these documents from the Directorate General of the Environment Department. But they still, even though we got this document, we requested another document, another signature document from the ministry. They didn't accept it either. So what do you do? What can you do? This process cost us 2 months of process. There's nothing that you can do, truly. Well, you have to find someone who knows the procedures, and it's the people who are positioned are young people. When you have this permission of the construction, you have to indicate the number of people who are parking. Our project of gas, it is 1,000 areas, 1,000 acres of areas. You have to calculate one vehicle per 200 meter squares. But you have to use the limit. 11 people are working in the facility, we say. Well, without the municipality, without the mayor, we cannot really use it. We cannot achieve it. Even though you have these areas, even though you have these regulations, laws established, how do you prevent, how do you get over this attitude of people? Of course, regulations are important, but I gather from our chat that other units of public institutions also has to comprehend the depth and importance of the business. They have to do it with with determination. I always talk to my friends. So if we put this into action, it is we will be everything. This exportation, this importation of the energy. One of the latest developments that we have faced, yes, that has been publicized hastily. This bureaucracy, I would like to thank them. They do all that they can. They helped all that they can. They always produce these documents, licenses. They dominate these topics. It is YEKA and Ministry of Energy are the two ministries that we are always consulting. They do it gladly. They do it gladly, so we would like to thank them. So we have done this expropriation, and there's a rejection of the citizens. What happens when there's a rejection? So you cannot go through all these steps of the area registry. So they do not sign the permission document. They do not sign the permission, so you cannot consult, you cannot request this permission for construction. Then you will have to wait for this process of the court. Immediate expropriations. If there's a declaration of immediate expropriation, so whoever comes along the way, you will have to grant. You have to sign this pre-permission document, and the municipality tells it's not yours yet. If I don't grant you permission for construction, it's not yours yet. So I need this document from these directorates, provincial directorate of the environment. But they say that you cannot assign without this appropriation of this area. So there is a directorate of this construction audit area. They also communicate and they say, of course, since it is another property, you cannot assign. With this immediate expropriation, this project is excluded. So it is diverted to General Directorate. This is what happened yesterday. So I will be communicating this to Directorate of Provincial Areas, but they will not be permitting. So everything is clear if you consult the APDK. They say that they cannot permit you. It is granted to you. We consulted to APDK. So you have to talk about this process so they can be also brave enough, especially about this process of immediate expropriation. We have to clear the path for this immediate expropriation because the legal regulations are very clear enough. If this is an immediate expropriation, I believe in this path in this procedure. There are some lacking parts. I hope they will be clearing out the path as our minister indicated. We will be accelerating this process. I believe that the National Assembly will also grant us the permission to hasten these procedures. As we have seen in these projects, we have learned the different languages of these public institutions. As you can see, this, if there is a declaration, if there is a decree of immediate expropriation, you cannot really continue. But we always highlight that renewable energy is a must. It is always really, it plays a crucial role on our current deficit. It plays a crucial role on our carbon emissions. We always talk about this. Regarding this legal process, especially if there is an immediate expropriation, you can declare to the court that yes, this is right, this is correct. I believe that there's a consciousness around this topic, but with these processes, with the ease, I believe that it will be easier, so that we can be reaching our targets of 2030. We have made some declarations, and we will be making some declarations of the gas competition. I believe we will be completing these competitions. We would like to request from Mr. Arkin. We have this vision. There are some conditions of the YEKA renewable energy resource areas representing a group. What do you expect from these competitions of these renewable energy resource areas? What are the conditions? What are the suggestions? How can we improve? What is your evaluation? Thank you so much. Mr. Murtaza set the tone of this conversation. I believe we are among friends. I will be continuing from the same tone. So let's circle back to how we gathered, how we got the permission to talk about this topic. We have 3 hydroelectrical plants. We have 1 biogas plant. We will be also including solar areas. There is a area portfolio of 1,400 of megawatts. We will be continuing in the year of 2025-26. We will be doubling it. As we have mentioned, storage. We will be talking about storage, how we implement the storage solutions in the renewable energy resource areas. I hope and wish that we can contribute. We will be talking about this. First of all, so it is a pleasure. It's a pleasure that we can talk about this. It's a renewable energy. Of course, there are some obligatory conditions. I hope that we can see these developments. Regarding these permissions, when we define the limits of the pricing, of course, we will be making some feasibility studies. I hope that we can implement this project. What else can we do? Within this project, we have to contribute some foreseeable features. Some of these features are during these permissions should be tied to a calendar. This super permission regulation, we don't know about this. Our head of the commission, we don't know about these codes. We don't know about the agreement, and they mentioned that there are some parts to clear about these legislations, especially regarding to feasibility areas. Of course, all these renewable energy areas has this marginal profit. This is very important for the competitiveness of country. We have to intervene first so that we can benefit from these grants as country. We have to do our part. We have to facilitate all the documentation, necessary documents, and the procedures. We have a common project with Mr. Murtaza regarding the signing the agreements. Our first agreement was about solar energy. It wasn't the wind energy, and we will be completing the 36 months. There are a lot of stories, there are a lot of anecdotes regarding the geography. We continue implementing this 500 megawatts in southern eastern Anatolia. We are also the distribution company of the region, but it has been a very challenging process. Which part is more challenging? The most challenging part is this permission. We had to contribute to some social responsibility projects, and the most important part is about the permission of the construction permissions. And you have to see, you can write a book about this permission, about the construction plans. How can we improve these conditions? How can we improve these agreements? These bits of the wind energy is easier. You see, these are some routine procedures as you all face it. The most important part is about regarding the permissions of the forest areas. You have to convince this Directorate General of Forestry. It is the same for this Directorate of the Agriculture. You have to convince them that you are using the minimum area. You have to. Then we will be continuing only with one permission. As they disclose the vision, they will be diminishing this period to 18 months from 36 months. And we will have this onshore plant of these 5 megawatts. And it's really important to find the correct funding. The most important part is this wind with the initiatives. With the initiatives of these project makers, we have to make the most of these areas. We have to produce the best energy. We use it with the capacity of the hybrid energy. We don't really need to increase the capacity. In province of Karaman, we have these YEKA, Renewable Energy Resources Areas projects. We can construct these solar energy areas. We do not need any extras. We can diminish the expenditures. We can be operating in a more competitive way. You can see that it is even cheaper than the barter price, especially where this regime is the controversy. You can also consider hybrid solutions. I hope our suggestions will be evaluated accordingly. So we can also talk about the supply security. We have these permissions and licenses of the renewable energy storage areas. With the capacity we will reach 220 gigawatts, reaching our targets. We need some areas to motivate these inverters. we have to establish areas. As we have discussed, we have general director to evaluate these suggestions. So if we can evaluate these capacities, they can use it in the areas that's needed. If they can measure if that's really correct or not, the feasibility, if they can find a balance, and if they can shorten the transmission area in an exchange of the income. If they pay the price, investors can be paying. Of course, it's really important. I hope it will have a fruitful outcome. We will be implementing these areas. There are some areas regarding the storage capacity issues. I believe this will play a crucial role, especially about the imbalance areas.
Önemli bir maliyet oluşturmayan ama batarya ile birlikte rahatlıkla sönümlendirilebilir.
Well, it could be compensated with the batteries and it could be extended throughout time. So side auxiliary services mechanisms, not only on the primary but in the secondary and tertiary, we need an arrangement. These tenders could be related to the circular equipments or else individual batteries, integrated batteries. Another important thing is about recommendations on the battery side. Well, especially on the day ahead, the price that we provide, if we are going to make 15 minutes of closures, on the day ahead, it will be around 90, and throughout the day, it could be renewed before 45 minutes, so that we could provide this supply security. Thank you. Well, there are two things, basically. The permit procedures, the bottlenecks, and their effect on the force majeure with respect to time extension. Maybe we can work about them, we can talk about them. And the second important issue is related to hybrid capacity, whether it could be allocated to wind. Because as you all know, some wind power plants are located in forests, but some areas could be eligible. Our technical specification explicitly says no to this, but in Gürün, in Sivas projects, areas could be feasible and they could be applicable. Well, we can discuss it based on the demands of our sector players. Well, thank you so much for your contribution. I'll give the floor to İhsan. İhsan is from Enerjisa. You had thermal power plant and you have certain targets in renewable energy sources. And currently, you are in YEKA RES2 competitions and you have come to important stages. With respect to YEKA, renewable energy source areas, you have some experience. So we'd like to learn your perspective for 2035 YEKA. And secondly, I'd like to learn about the storage, because we have big storage capacity for wind and solar. And what is your take on this? What are your growth targets with respect to them? Well, thank you so much. I'd like to salute you on behalf of Enerjisa, and all the panelists are investors here. Well, previously you've seen our photographs on the slide, and I've seen that we have placed our up-to-date photographs, and if we place a couple of years ago's photograph, you could see a big transformation, because it is really difficult to make investment. We have changed a lot. You have to be fighting in every battle, and well, Turkey needs this more. That's why we are complaining. If we compare ourselves with the others, compared to European countries, In our country, permits are faster. In Germany, you can bring a project to permit level within 5 to 6 years, but in Turkey it is 3 to 5 years. But during the journey, well, you could feel that you are getting really old. It's like a big cycle, vicious cycle, and you try to find a way. So everybody has already complained about the permits. That's why I'll talk about something else. Yesterday, the electricity charge was $30. And in summertime, we saw the electricity charge was around zero in certain times. Electricity demand has increased by 5%, and in residential, there's been 15% increase. On the commercial, there is 10%. On an industry, I think this is the most important one, there has been 1.5% increase. And previous year, we had an earthquake, and during that time, the industry on the earthquake region, there was no activity. So if we think this into consideration, take this into consideration, we can say that there is shrinkage on the industry, and it's a bit uncertain what's going to happen in 2025. So we need to talk about the demand. So the organizations should be assuming responsibilities for the sector. But now the industry is going to be just a player, not the ones who take the responsibility here. Since the beginning of the year, 6,500 megawatt has been commissioned, and there is power plant on the solar side, which is like a duck curve. So it's going to be zero, the electricity charge. On the Industry 4.0, industry has certain lacking points, and with artificial intelligence, there's a great transformation. Now we expect them to convert their investments onto solar power plants, not on artificial intelligence. We should be able to selling our own energy from the upcoming 4 to 5 years, but it is very less on our side. Rather than buying energy from the players, we have to give incentives to the industry to take their parts. So we have to be really careful in this game. It could be renewable energy or thermal or storage or power or wind or solar, it doesn't matter. Unless you provide flexibility in your portfolio, it means that you are taking a big risk. This is a really big issue for us. For the wind and solar power plants with storage, we work very actively. We work with YEKA, 2 central power plants. In 1996, we had 4 thermal power plants, but Enerjisa has become a great contributor of this sector, but our biggest power comes from our labor. We have a really dynamic and a digitally able labor force, but our biggest muscle comes from diversified portfolio. This portfolio has been subjected to different conditions, like economic crisis, and when Iran interrupted natural gas to Turkey, and Turkey had certain wet times or dry times. So thanks to this, our diversified portfolio, we took advantages and we continued creating value. We're going to grow based on wind and solar power plants. So we have made a lot of firsts in Turkey. And in 2013, December, we have commissioned YEKA in our site, and next year we will also have 750 megawatt another YEKA. If permits are issued in the first quarter of 2026, 250 gigawatt will be added. So our installed capacity will be 5. And in the mid-run, we want 7,500 megawatts involving wind and solar and with more flexible power plants. By the way, Enerjisa made the first hybrid power plant in 2010. In Bandırma energy base, we generate green energy. We have batteries. In 2025, we're going to have prototype Enercon wind turbine, the mounting will be finalized, and we have already made digital solutions on the batteries, wind, solar, how they could be optimized internally. But as I've stated beforehand, in the game plan of Türkiye, we need to talk about how we are going to position ourselves and how the demand is going to take its shape. Otherwise, on the demand side, if the industry does not take responsibilities, we'll see different scenarios, and it might pose the investors. Storage, wind and solar power plants should add additional flexibility to the grid, but we don't know which models are going to be activated, which resources are going to be utilized, how they are going to earn their money with the primary frequency or electricity generation, which is going to be the model. So based on this, we're going to draw our roadmap. So based on behalf of my shareholders, I can say that they have huge appetite for investing in Turkey. They believe in Turkey's situation and dynamism. Turkey is going to stand again with the microeconomic policies. I hope that we're going to push 7,500 megawatts. I hope it's going to create conditions that can enable us realizing our targets in the wind and solar. We will work actively. Thank you very much. Well, by 2035, 120 gigawatt target, I believe Enerjisa is going to make a big contribution. I'd like to make this addition to your speech. Well, you have mentioned that it has decreased down to $30, and in summertime, it's so $0 in certain hours of the day. In YEKA technical specifications, there is this minute detail. There was this right to sale to the market. It was something attractive, but we took it to another level, and we set at minimum 4.95 cap. Well, when it is below 5 cents, well, we guaranteed 5 cents to the players. Doctor, if it increases in the upcoming days, on the daytimes, maybe up to 8 to 10 hours, it might be 3 cents. We don't know this. It is not foreseeable. But with these figures, we can provide a certain or foreseeable market to the investors. Well, you are more than right. Producing companies should have their portfolio and they should create optimization. Well, in this respect, industrialists should go for investments, but they should not based on single resource, because there is this electricity charge on this. If it is zero, then industrialists will be on the worst case scenario. I hope that they will be working on innovation, brand building, artificial intelligence. Well, you're more than right, definitely. Inshallah, let's say, we hope for it. Based on the vision of 2026, maybe because of these taxes, people have certain enthusiasm, yes, but everybody knows that the biggest desire is related to ROI, which is 2.5 years. After the pandemic, prices in the industry were changed. Energy was not able to be sold by 5 cents, but unlicensed ones were able to sell it by 15 to 16 cents, and it was a kind of individual investment, maybe. That's why the appetite increased. Maybe we can review it in the future. I'll continue with Cem from Polat Energy. Polat Energy is a group which made the first wind energy investments in Turkey. And as far as I know, you have an example application with respect to energy storage. Towards 2035, I'd like to learn your expectations, and what about the integration of Polat Energy with the storage? Can I learn your opinions? Yes, of course. First of all, I'd like to thank TREP representatives for this very well prepared organization, all the shareholders of the sector. Thank you so much. Well, in order to clarify it, maybe I need to talk about Polat Energy. Like you have mentioned, Polat Energy is one of the first of the sector. It was founded in 2010. Even in Europe, let alone Turkey, even today, European countries, we know that they are really advanced, but back then, those countries were really suspicious and concerned about the future of the sector. But thanks to the will of the public authorities, Poland Energy made the first investments. Currently, we have 700 megawatts of wind energy power plant, and inshallah we're going to add more. It will be around 800. And in recent times, Poland Europe has been activated. Eastern Europe will be the center, and we will activate our investments in Eastern Europe. So as you can understand from here, our business model is based on renewable energy. We are not working on other energy sources. We don't have any investments in the mid or foreseeable future. We don't have such a plan. All the system is based on renewable energy. So in this respect, based on 2035 vision, which has been announced by the minister, we are doing our best. This is really crucial for us. As you all know, there's two important issues. One is foreseeable, the other one is predictability and the sustainability. Of course, these are really crucial for 2035 targets. There are certain things that has to be clarified in the details, but well, for the upcoming decade, we can say that there is already enough predictability on our roadmap. Well, our investment appetite is really high, and we want to make more investments. And 2035 target is really pleasing for us. I'd like to underline some issues here with respect to this plan and vision. Our minister has already stated that by 2035, 512 terawatt will be the demand of energy. It's around 60% increase. Well, it could be translated as there should be capacity and investment in return of this demand. But without making any investments, making any expenditures, or creating anything with respect to current account deficit, we can actually compensate it with energy efficiency. This is really important. Well, we are a group that survive based on energy sales and purchasing, but kilowatt hour electricity which is not consumed is a big threat with respect to our energy independence. This is really important, and it has to be given its justice. It has to be considered. And we have a big target of 120 gigawatts. Well, when we evaluate it, we need to once again review what we have done so far in the last 2 decades. Our installed power is around 11th rank in the segment. This is something that we're proud of, and we will reach 120. Well, but we have to do certain things together. First of all, society should be more aware, and society's demand and support is really important. Public will, public authorities' will is very crucial. As parallel to this, the role of the investors is very crucial. Well, to be frank, in the last 2 decades, social awareness, support, consciousness have not been at the point that we wanted. That was based on the public authorities' will, but in the upcoming years, if we want to reach 120 gigawatt, we need the support from the society. Well, the stakeholders of the sector have big responsibilities, because in the renewable energy, well, yes, this is clean energy that we generate, green energy, we have an impact on carbon. However, one way or another, we leave environmental impact. Maybe this is a minute impact still, but it's an impact. It's like a grass area, and there is a walking path. You don't want the grass to be harmed when people are walking on it. Even you pave the road with some stones, there's still environmental impact, because you kill the plantation there, but you still protect the majority of the grass. So this is how we think about this situation. The awareness of the society is very important, because it's going to open up the way for the investors further. From another perspective, our growth appetite is really big. We are ready to make investments, and currently we have the capacity allocation. Well, this is positive, but at the same side, it's really critical how we realize it. Because maybe based on certain reasons, challenges, whether it be financial or permit issues, some of these investments are not going to be realized. If the delta, the difference between the total allocation and realized allocation is bigger, it's going to affect the predictability. And public authorities might not make their planning because TEİAŞ is, as you all know, renewable energy is time specific and nature specific. It has base load feature. So all in all, in terms of transmission, in order to provide a balance on the system, there should be certain base load, right? For that reason, if realization is lower than prediction, then there could be bigger problems. But on the other side, as investors, we have to be ready for this uncertainties. For us to reach 120 gigawatt target, I believe all these issues are very critical. And on the other side, you mentioned storage, yes. In Soma power plant, we have 4 megawatts installation. We have already finalized the system. With the regulation enactment, after it is approved by the ministry, it's going to be put in force. This is what we hope for. Well, the storage is again, if on the renewable, if you have big targets, great targets, this is very positive, by the way. Renewable energy should also be considered in this way. Yes, storage is not like an additional expense. There should be a good revenue model for energy storing. If it happens on our journey to 120 gigawatts, storage systems are going to find their best place. And with respect to YEKA, renewable energy source areas, with respect to predictability that I have mentioned, there has been a really crystal clear path. Each and every year there will be competitions. And in this new system, there are good factors like cap price and the advantage to sell based on the market prices. And with the acceleration on the permits issues, selling to market time will be extended, and there will be also exemptions on the transmission charges, so it will be much more attractive and predictable. Well, I'd like to underline this. There is this 20 years of deviation from the cap price. 6 years and 20 years means a quarter century. So with respect to predictability, selling from a fixed price, there could be certain problems. Well, transmission line charge exemption could be a bit a problem maybe in this inflationist environment. Last but not least, let me mention something with respect to permits. There are really positive developments from the Ministry of Energy and on other ministry side. This is something really pleasing because there is this permit duration of 4 years, and this is how we perceive this. No law or no regulation is there for coincidence or no reason. Well, there should be a certain reason. It could be related to forest or the plantation, national safety, security. Our expectation is to accelerate the time, duration, and parallel activation in certain procedures. I believe that there are great positive developments here, and these are really pleasing for our side. I hope that 2035 vision and new YEKA will be really crucial and beneficial for our sector and country. Thank you so much.
Ben buradan Murat Bey'e geçmek istiyorum.
Thank you. Let me continue with Murat from where you left. There is something that we discuss over and over again. And it was emphasized during the opening remarks as well. $18 billion worth of investment has already been made. And now, plus, there is this goal of an additional 90 gigawatts over the 10 years. I mean, have your math. No matter what you include, it equals to 80 to 90 billion dollars, meaning 7 to 8 billion dollars worth of investment annually. But then how to finance it, and can YEKA support the finance? And we know that the lenders are usually anxious, and the slightest inconvenience will be received as a risk. So how to model, how to prepare the technical requirements, how to communicate and attract investors, and how to convince the banking sector to have access to finance. First, distinguished chair, thank you so much, and dear participants, it is more than a pleasure for me to be with you joining this session, and dear audience, thank you so much for your interest as well. Let me introduce Borusan EMBW first. Established in 2009, it is a German-Turkish partnership. That's how we managed to navigate through 15 years. Now we're talking about 165 megawatts of installed capacity, and once this year's investments are completed, we'll be talking about more than 900 megawatts, and approximately 780 megawatts will consist of wind. Just like other participants, of course, we are focusing on the storage aspect as well. For example, we have a pre-licensed installed capacity of 400 megawatts. Let me give you a perspective right now. The total investment has surpassed $1.2 billion. So energy is an investment-dependent industry. That's how it diverges from other industries. But then let's think of some global developments as well, and then I'll cover the financing aspect of it. Well, looking at the globe, financing in energy sector has this sort of a correlation, up to 90 to 95%. It correlates with the country's GDP growth and their energy investments. We just followed in previous presentations. This year, we're not going to see that much growth, and the energy demand won't climb up that much. So this can be interpreted as some short-term challenges. But still, Turkey's vision is clear. We expect a solid growth, so that is why, in parallel, we expect the energy demand to climb up. Maybe what's important here is to think of the energy transformation and what it means for Turkey. We're talking about a global 1.5 centigrade degrees of a parameter, as you know. 1.5 centigrade degrees of the globe getting warmer is regarded as a green transformation. But then the final projections say that up by 2050, getting warmer by 2.6 centigrade degrees sounds reasonable, okay, but to keep it there, we need $15 trillion worth of grid investments, plus $10 trillion worth of renewables investments. Distinguished minister stated this last night during the consulting meeting. Figures in Turkey actually sides with renewables. $75 billion worth of investment, and then $25 billion worth of investment for transmission lines is now favorable for Turkey. But the figures we're talking about is quite significant, I must add. And looking at the global picture, you might see it in different names, but no matter what they call it, there is this thing about renewable power plants and price setting in the industry. Right now, it hovers around 5 to 10%, and this CCGT, looking at CCGT, it's around 60 to 70%. And after 2030, 2035, the price setting coefficient climbs up to 25, and then the CCGT drops to 30 to 35. It is significant because thinking of the prices and lower they get, the more unpredictable they get, more challenging it's going to be on the financing side, because the decision making will get harder and will be challenged as well. So both as an enterprise and as a country will strive to do our very best. So moving on with YEKA and storage financing, let me share our insights. Dollar-based pricing is okay, as always. It's fine. And it brings about a certain clarity. And I'd like to thank the ministry for doing this so. And we believe that this is quite a positive decision. Maybe we can think of this one detail. Looking at a calendar, there is this tender calendar for early 2025, but enterprises like us with foreign investors, I mean, we're going to need more time to think and elaborate and come up with decisions. So maybe that calendar may not be the best fit for everyone. I mean, in terms of the investors, maybe it may not be enough time. There might not be enough time. Another problem is the requirement of YEKA and their relation with financing details. When there's a body like YEKA, and you know, Turkey always tries to support the industrialists, and when you set up a structure that favors supporting the industry, banks tend to see the developments on a negative fashion, and they might lose their appetites. So that's why maybe investment banks and the foreign ones can be somehow included with, some certain changes, so that they might find our endeavors attractive. Another important subject is the export loans. Export loans is quite important for Turkey and for renewables. And looking back until 2017, 2018, the financing model was even including Denmark. But after 2018, it looks like financing sided Germany particularly. Why? Because the financing institutions allocated their budgets accordingly. And now budgets are higher in Germany. That's why financing there is like very valuable. But the challenge here is, I mean, domestic capacity use requirement, like in bodies like YEKA. Okay, that's good, but sometimes we fail to comply with it. So maybe we might go for some changes, some amendments, so that ECA institutions can also help, and we can maybe increase that ratio to 80 to 90%. Remember how it was in 2015 or 16? ECA institutions could finance not just the equipment, but the entire project itself. But post-2018 macroeconomic conditions of Turkey pushed this approach a bit away. And when it comes to access, of course, country risk premiums and credit rating agencies and their country ratings also play a role. Looking at German OCA or OECD, we rank category 5, but Greece is not even in any category. Greece is in category 3, meaning if Bulgaria needs financing with ECA, then they can find cheaper financing with longer maturities. But what it means for us is that we will face certain limits and thresholds, and only then we can have access to finance. I hope that with the current recovery in the economy will have its reflection on our ratings, and I hope that we will be regarded as an important part of Europe, and I hope things go more positive. Also, there's this elephant in the room. We are all aware of it. We kind of act like we're not aware of it, but it is there, and we all know it. And it is that looking at certain projects, especially big projects, we know that China will grow a significant appetite for big projects. But then if we can develop and walk on the path that we set our high ambitions and goals, then it'll be good for us. But if we fail to hit our targets, then industry players might start facing China, because China will be ambitious to protect their own ecosystem as well. Let me see what I can add for financing. Well, as you know, until very recently, enterprises were focusing on project-based financing, but lately, corporate financing started to weigh more. But then what is the difference? Imagine there's this umbrella company, and think of it as a portfolio management, and this can, help overcome some limitations. But when you finance a portfolio, then you start thinking about green bonds or other financing means, and I think it's a positive development for companies. And all positive developments on the rating side, I think, will contribute positively to companies in terms of bond issuance as well. And when it comes to YEKA, the renewable energy resource areas, loan rates around the globe is around 70 to 80, but in the States it's like 60 to 70. Why? There's this Inflation Reduction Act in the States, and thanks to this act, they can optimize the tax thanks to equity balancing. And maybe YEKA can go for a similar approach. If they can opt a similar approach, then they can ensure financing with more equity, and this can help loans and the loan payments and debt rolling and everything. And I'm sure that the ministry is following all sorts of possibilities and monitoring all the latest developments. So that's all I have to say for now. Thank you. Well, thank you. It's like the chicken or egg situation here. That's what I thought while following you. Okay, domestic means for YEKA, but then what about expensive investments or like expensive financing? Yes, there is this dilemma going on, but let's prioritize utilizing domestic means. And also, but then EBRD or other foreign institutions. When I think about the international institutions, I remember what was discussed last night. Maybe we should talk about this with the Ministry of Trade as well. But there is this reality. Equipments are produced here and then exported, to other countries. But then what about this detail? Can we see it as a domestically produced one or not? Maybe this can benefit us more, or maybe we can work on this. Maybe this can become a method. Maybe the Ministry of Trade can study the pros and cons of such an approach. And also, we never insist on only having turbines produced in Europe. Domestically produced, okay, establish your factory and we will be there for you to support you, and produce domestically. There's no privilege here or no differentiating, no divergence. Set up a factory and produce domestically, and we will be more than ready to accept your products. And with this note, I'd like to hear your insight about this issue. Sure, but then, we are not really discussing the reality YEKA have finance to access. $1.1 billion is the total amount of investments that we had reached in the last 3 years. But was it like a project financing? Yeah, sure, yeah. It's like ECA project financing. And of course, we borrowed as well. For example, London Exim Bank, Spanish Exim Bank, Standard Chartered, JP Morgan. We're talking about those banks, those institutions here. Maybe you followed it 2 months ago. We just completed another financing, $249 million, sorry. And just 3 to 4% of the total, cost. And we're talking about YEKA. okay, 70% of domestically produced goods should be used, etc. Fine. Yes, let's have domestic production, but let's not forget about the details. For example, remember the last requirements. You say, okay, you can import your inverters, but if you use a domestically produced one, then my offer to you is 0.3. I mean, this means hundreds of millions of euros worth or dollars worth of additional financing. I mean, sure, let's have domestically produced ones, but should this be the case for every single component or equipment? I mean, sometimes you have to import because why? That's the highest quality. But yeah, some fine tuning would definitely improve the situation because the philosophy is great as long as it does not limit or block or bring about challenges. Yeah, we are about to engage at 2,000 megawatts of YEKA, and it was possible only thanks to international financing. Thank you. And our last speaker is Ali Bey, Mr. Ali. I'm from Afyon city's Dinar province, and I see wind mills all around the place. We are aware that you continue with your investments. You have already made a lot, and you follow international business development and related issues. And I think you are already familiar with what is happening globally. So if you were to compare countries emphasizing or investing in wind and think about Türkiye, what would be your recommendations for the future? What is your take on this?
Distinguished President, well, as the last speaker, I would like to energize you a little bit. So let me start by saying that as the holding, we did investment of the Gibaş holding. I have participated actually into the all investment projects. I remember that in Europe, renewable energy was a project, an initial project. I remember those times. In 1996, there was no energy market within the country, so we really invested in the geothermal. We have created the projects. However, the law, well, I remember that we approached to Mr. Hilmi, we asked for support, and in 2019, the first test was 47 actually back then, and we have commissioned it. Mr. Ibrahim and Mr. Ali are here, so they warned me that they are awaiting actually my projections for the future. So it's just like a very friendly environment for me. I know almost all participants. I have friends in here, so I would like to salute you. Anything that we say here just shows our experience, I believe, so that we can create a common roadmap. So I wouldn't be repeating what was said before because I do not want to bore you. So who are we? We are working in the renewable energy segment. Kosovo and Ukraine, if we are to include them, our total is 77 megawatt. And in Turkey, we have 8 locomotive geothermal projects whose total is 260. And also we have 6 HES projects. So we also in the world have an installed power of more than 1,000. Also, with the support coming from the government, we keep investing in the renewable energy sources. We are very thrilled and excited in Belen Central Plant. While Mr. Ibrahim is here as well, we even actually planted the first, I remember, pole of the wind measurement pole. Back then together, while Gürüş is 67 years old. We are using it as performance, and we supply the sector with our experience and engineering capacity and power. We would like to share it with the sector, of course. We also have international investments, and we share what we know as well in other countries, in Kosovo and in Ukraine. And also we work with the Turkic republics. So I would like to share only the projects that we have realized, but in the future we expect more. Yes, renewable energy is in this area of desire for us. For the geothermal, it was a long process, but right now, where are we exactly? Well, my luggage, I have two luggages. One is just in the very corner of the door. The other one is in my car. I work very actually intensely with my team. I visit many places. I'm waiting for January because we have a project of Kocatepe gas project whose installment power is 32. So I'll go there and visit it. We are quite a dynamic and a young society as a country, so the government should be opening the road for us. We always share our problems with the authorities, so we should do it without scaring or without having a fear from the government. Where honestly we have to share the challenges. If the renewable is our purpose, we should really look for what we have done and what can be done. As you know, the bad landowner will make you the homeowner. So now let me share with you a few remarks accordingly. I'm an engineer myself, so I already wrote in here my titles as an engineer myself. Let me just check out my notes. That saying is important, I believe, because as Morgan Energy, we have more than 200 turbines. So for the geothermals, we do the maintenance ourselves. It is 100% Mogan, actually, product. We have R&D work, TÜBİTAK science works. When we purchase an equipment, we always question ourselves why we cannot manufacture it. This is what Mr. Idris told us always. Instead of depending on other countries, we need to be self-sufficient, self-manufacturing. So we have experience of the maintenance, and sometimes they ask for really high prices, and this is the biggest problem actually in the country. Well, we shouldn't make our country the trash of the turbines. Not all the companies should come here and sell their turbines. We should be buying and looking for high quality turbines, and we should be supporting the local manufacturing. We produce many spare parts as well. So the bolts, for example, screw bolts, we even sell them. We are very proud of it because we really love also a heavy industry. And together with all the turbine suppliers, we are really willing to work. We wanted to even teach them how to manufacture within the country. We want to support them, help them, because our purpose is to avoid more tasks from the government. All the service that we provide to the heavy industry can be combined with the turbine manufacturers. The tower, for example, or the generators, or the wedges, it shouldn't be limited to this. So for the blades, for everything, we can really work very comfortably. We went to a Frankfurt exhibition. We had a booth there as well. We did a great investment, by the way. We don't like to depend on the other companies in terms of the restoring and repair, for example. We have our own system and our own product. We want our products to be repaired by us 100%. So we have modernized the turbines. We follow them 24 hours. We give the service 7/24. So very, very proud of this. As the export company, also we do the maintenance and repair ourselves. We do it ourselves. And we have 660 blades, and we also do maintenance for the blades. Yes, we are a Turkish company. We would like to offer our services to you. We would like to solve your problems. All the operators and the technicians, they cost a lot. We do not want to spend what we earn in here. We would like to actually help out to the sector. So the most important thing in YEKA, I believe, is to just show the best performance. We really need to make the country work. So we know that there is a high appetite in Turkey in terms of doing work. What I ask from you, distinguished President, is that this is an experience, right? So we know that sometimes you don't know what you earn, and we just start right away talking about the prices. So we shouldn't be impacting the appetite. We need to just somehow just the weight here. So the feasibility report in here. So we know also the increases, so we should be really willing to do it. We shouldn't be slowing down the sector. Yes, for the wine, we will just growing and all. Mr. Jem has shared as well their investment. We shouldn't stop working. Well, if you ask me if we have stopped or not, yes, we keep doing the investment. We should never stop of investing. We do the repairing, we do the maintenance, we as well take care of the turbines. After learning it, we wanted to expand to the other countries. Right now, we have a great project as well, progress and development. Well, even if people are right now in other countries doing the project improvements. Yes, we have such an opportunity. Why not to maybe spend a lot of time outside of the country instead of investing in our own country? So we are really thrilled, excited. We are young and dynamic. We would like to do this job properly in here, of course, with the incentives coming from the government. So this is, I have 2 more minutes, by the way, distinguished President. The best investment is the investment that you do to your own country. Yes, we would like to increase the amount of the investment we do to the country. We need to just stay strong. We need to keep investing. This is what we are aiming for and looking for. Yes, let's be without fear, excited, and we have to use our capacity of engineering at the maximum level. How about the challenges? Finance processes are being followed very closely. Yes, we also do the feasibility study, and we just work on study on our cash flows, and this is how we approach to the banks. However, sometimes we face with some problems in the transmission lines. There are some increases, and the increase of the cost is 500 times more, for example, or sometimes it is double for different lines. I actually questioned this with my manager. So as Magan company, the prices for the system usage for 2024, for example, we have spent $604 million. So it means that 89% of increase comparing to the previous year. So while in this work for the transmission line or in the forest, forest. We are just a renter. We do not own it. So the renting cost, what was told us is that if you're a renter, then the increase only can be limited to 25%. So the landowners only had the possibility of making a price increase of 25%. But we are also renter. So the price is supposed to be 25 maximum to us as well, but that was not the case. It impacted our net cash flow, and it caused the inflation to go up because, as you may know, when the prices go up, the inflation will indirectly will go up as well. So what we demand is from you, from the government, is that while playing the game, the rules shouldn't be changed, as distinguished Mr. President Erdogan has said. So we expect the rules not to be changed during the game. The correct investments should be supported, and foreign investors are to be attracted to our countries instead of letting them to go and search for the other countries' investment opportunities. So these are the challenges and the problems we face with. YEKA is taking this into account, the YEKA work. Financing is really expensive. So in the name of TUREP, I will ask for something, the permission for the forest for the first 5 years. It is logical, the pricing. However, after 5 years, actually, the prices change. So if we are to change it from 5 years to the 10 years of timing, then I think that it can be more successful because the return of a project generally takes 14 years of a time. So it is really a requirement for us. We would like to normalize the payback period. This is what we kindly ask from you. We are sure that you will support us on that regard, and also the electricity investment and energy investment. We will keep being number one, and while doing so, together with distinguished, of course, colleagues, we serve to the same community. I'm just talking as a Turkish engineer. Without depending too much on the other projects, we would like to use the local capacity to realize our actually YEKA project. Well, thank you very much for this very energetic and dynamic speech. We expect you to invest in our country. We look forward to it. Turkey is, of course, a priority and is a first choice maybe for you, and we support this totally. This is the end of this panel, but if we have time, maybe we can receive a few questions if we have time. I see a few hands, so we can please hand over the microphone. You can ask to me or directly to our panelists. Please do not forget to introduce yourself, please, first. Thank you very much. My name is Büşra Onur Arı from Bene Construction Firm. I have a question, please. Turkey's first and only wind turbine blade manufacturer we are, and also we are the investor of the Nazar facility. So, distinguished General Director, this question is to you. In Ali Ağa Nazar facility, in the context of YEKA 1, it was obligatorily was constructed, and our company is the investor of that factory, and as well we have a commitment. Well, as the YEKA 1 is cancelled, unfortunately the facility is totally empty. There is no manufacturing or production. Mr. Ali has said that in our country we have the companies of the wind turbines, and he had said that they see many people, they talk to many people, and this empty facility can be reconsidered, maybe re-evaluated in the coming YEKAs. So what do you think about this empty facility, which is disregarded at the moment? Well, thank you very much for the question. As far as I understand the question, We have actually a provision for YEKA. It is 55 points of locality. It is a must. 55 points. So the tower should be local and the blades should be local so that you can get 55 points. So 21st of October was the launching of the Mr. Minister, and as well in the morning, Mr. Minister has said that in the coming years, every year there will be at least 2,000 megawatts of YEKA. At least it is going to be either solar or wind, and the locality level will be similar. This is what Minister has said earlier. So the tower and the blades, their generators, should continue to be manufactured locally so that you would be following actually the specifications of YEKA. Otherwise, it cannot be approved. The question is as such, a nasal facility was constructed for YEKA 1. It was constructed according to the specifications already because YEKA implementation was a must. However, the nasal facility is empty. It does not work. So the coming YEKAs, there will be future YEKAs. So if it is going to be a must, so instead of just keeping it empty, could it have been maybe possibility to use it? It's not only the blade or the generator, because it is a nasal facility. Thank you. Well, it is 55 points at the moment, but for the coming YEKAs, this numbers, these figures, they can go up. Well, we can discuss it, but we won't be going back. But it shouldn't mean that the nasal factories will be used 100%. We cannot promise for this, but the Ministry of Industry, Ministry of Commerce, they all look forward to support the local industry. Each YEKA specification has their own specifications. So that is the specification for 2024. And the next ones would be named as the 25 or 26 or 27 based on the years coming, but the conditions will be re-evaluated, I believe. Maybe a last question let's receive, and then let's close the session, please. Well, thank you very much for all the information. My name is Yahya Tatlısu. I am investment consultant. I have a question about the incentives. Ministry of Industry, about the renewable energy. When we are to make an application, fourth region support is given. This is what the companies think of. However, the fourth region support are not given to the renewable energy exactly. So when we just think of the past, there were some attempts, of course. But right now, on the 24th and the 25th of August, for the renewable energy investments, as you may know, it starts with the cell, and the locality should be increased. And this is impacting the financing cost. So that's why, if we are to make a change, then all the supports should be given, I believe. The minimum fourth region is here. This is how it starts, the minimum fourth. Of course, I don't know how much they get benefit of, though. But yes, the financing is going up a little. But for gas, we have ingot slicing in the beginning. And the Ministry of Industry, yes, they think that the cost can increase. And it is on the level of financing. So, for this reason, at the moment, when we think of the cash flow and the project return, this work is still feasible. It is desired by the people and all. So, thank you very much. There is no support for the renewable energy for the fourth region, but for renewable there is not. Well, tomorrow the Minister of Industry is going to be here. Distinguished Vice Minister as well is going to be here. Maybe it is better to talk to them. I believe we can as well re-talk tomorrow on that related session. Thank you very much for your very valuable time, for coming here. Thank you very much to the speakers. This is the end of this panel. Thank you very much for listening to us. Thank you very much. Please stay on the stage for a little while longer because we would like to present you some gifts, please. First of all, I would like to ask for a round of applause to distinguished moderator, and I would like to invite here distinguished Ender Özata is kindly invited to the stage, please. Mr. Özkaya, thank you very much. Thank you. So, thank you very much, distinguished Özatay. Now, distinguished Ahmet Özkaya is going to make their I would like to invite here İhsan Erbil Bayçele, please. Applause for distinguished speakers. Exim Energy CEO, Mr. Arkan Akbay, is kindly invited to the stage, please.
Bu paneli böyle güzel bir fotoğraf karesiyle noktalayalım. Efendim Sayın İbrahim Erden ve Sayın Ender Özatay da bu fotoğraf karesine dahil oluyorlar. Ve şimdi saat 3'e 10 var. Yani 15'e 10 dakika var. Diğer oturumumuz 15.30'da. Yine çok değerli konuşmacılarımız olacak. Lütfen saat 15.25 gibi burada olalım. Çünkü öncesinde TÜREP Yönetim Kurulu Başkanımız Sayın İbrahim Erden oturuma yönelik de böyle bir konuşma da gerçekleştirecek. Yaklaşık böyle bir
teşekkür
10
ediyorum.
dakikalık bir sunumu da olacak ve sonrasında efendim
Sağ
enerji
olun.
depolama
Teşekkür ediyorum.
potansiyelini açığa çıkarmak, yenilikler, piyasa trendleri ve depolama yenilenebilirlerle entegrasyonu konusunu burada çok değerli konuklarımızla konuşacağız ve sizleri bekliyor olacağız. Saat 15.30'da başlayacak ama 15.25'te lütfen burada olun diyoruz. Teşekkür ediyoruz efendim. Efendim eserlerimizi almadan lütfen ayrılmayalım. Günün anısına güzel bir eser çünkü. Kıymetli bir eser.